Edgar. Okay, I was worried there for a second, but thank you so much. Okay, do you?
Have to do anything?
I don't know.
You guys have to unmute yourselves.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can.
Yeah, excellent.
All
How's it going, Chris?
right.
Going great. I didn't know you were the presenter till I showed up, man. This is exciting.
So Chris used to be a mentor before he became a life changer. And we mentioned Edgar, and he said, oh, I mentored him. But then Edgar and I connected when he started buying houses in Houston, and I helped him work the numbers and answer any questions he may have about the market, the deal, or whatnot. Is that true, Edgar?
Yeah, that's correct. And you provide a lot of information to help us make our first decisions. Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right. So Edgar is a school principal, and oh my goodness, he is always busy. And sometimes he'll send me texts, and I'll respond to him by text. He asks questions, and I know he's on the go, and he doesn't have a lot of time. So we are flexible. We can get on a call, we can email, we can text, whichever one works for you, okay? And Jenalyn is an HR manager at a health home care company, right, Jenalyn?
That's right.
Yes. And Julia, I put that you will be able to vote this, I guess at the next election.
That's correct. Yes, she will be voting this election.
Okay, so tell us, you grew up in Hawaii?
Yeah, Hawaii's home. We, after we got married and had a child, we moved over to the mainland in Washington State for a year. And then Jenna had an aunt that lived in the Hazlet area. And then we moved over to DFW in 2009, around August. Didn't look back. Texas has been great to us, and now it's our home.
Okay, very good. So how did you find out about lifestyles?
So first of all, maybe a few years ago, I started looking into different real estate agencies to learn a little bit more. Went to a few of those seminars at those hotel conference rooms that, maybe 30 or 50 people were there. Got some information, almost went on a tour with them to learn a little bit more, but I just didn't feel at peace, and we didn't feel that we wanted to move forward with that, with those companies just yet. After hearing Dell on the radio, because I was listening on the radio a little bit, we decided to go ahead and do the 2-day, and it really seemed legitimate. So that's what really started it all. But the big trigger, and I'll mention just really quick about this, was that my dad got into it back in Hawaii over there, and he did well in what he knew to do. And I had pushed that and shunned it away for quite some time. And we just came to a point in our lives after my dad had passed back in 2018 that real estate got back into the conversation to look forward to the future. And so that's what brought us here today.
Okay, very good. So today we're going to talk about this house that's on this 26th Street. How did you find out about this house?
Well, this was kind of neat because I had done a deal with Realtor Moon Kim, and he emailed me if I was interested in that deal. It had already a bid and inspection connected with it. I looked it over. I called you, Hind, just to review that I did my quest right, and then it looked like the numbers were going to make sense, so we moved forward with the deal.
Okay, very good. So what year was this house built?
This is 1969.
Okay.
1969. Mm-hmm.
3 bedrooms, 2 baths. What was the layout?
Yes, initially it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, but if you can see that, it looks like it was a garage. We did a garage conversion on this one with the contractor I work with.
Yeah, I see it. I see the window. Okay. So that made it 3-2?
It made it to a 4-2.
A 4-2.
So initially it was 3-2, and then now it was a 4-2.
Okay, very good. So here's some before and after. That's the kitchen.
Straight out of the 60s, huh?
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Does that floor have asbestos or something like that? The glued down?
No, it's got a lot of wisdom.
No.
Stories.
Bathroom. This is good. This is good. And so for you, from out of town, how was the process?
So a quick backstory. So I was looking at homes in the DFW area. That's how I connected with Chris initially. And then I decided that I would look into homes outside, and I started to talk to some of the national mentors. Spoke a lot with Ron. Yes, and anyway, and also Isaac.
Oh,
and anyway, after having a few conversations with them, I felt a lot more comfortable to work outside of my zone and saw some properties in the Houston area where the numbers looked a little bit nicer. And that's why we started to look at Houston.
Okay. So if there is any takeaway from what Edgar just told us is that you can truly invest from anywhere, that it doesn't matter where you live, but you can invest anywhere because we're all here to help you. He connected with the national mentors. He connected with the local mentor that knows the area. And everybody just is one team. And he was able to get this house and get the ball rolling and working on his future. So let's talk about the numbers, which is what we all want to know about. The purchase price was $90,000. The rehab was $60,000. The closing costs were $21,128, and the after repair value was $220,000, which makes the equity capture of $48,500, so almost $46,000. Okay, his cash out of pocket was only $12,000. Can you imagine? So think about what you have in your bank account and how many houses you can buy if all you could pay was, you had to pay was $12,000 every house. Then you make 19% cash on cash return, and your return on equity is 405%. Right?
Yes.
We're clapping for you.
I know. So I just want to ask a question because
This is some pretty numbers. I'm just waiting on him.
right. So I want to ask you a question because as a mentor, we get a lot of calls about people scared of the numbers, right? So you received the numbers from the realtor. Then what went through your mind? Were you comfortable moving forward? Walk me through it quickly.
So at that stage, I had already I was hungry. I need to close on a deal. I mean, I'm hearing all these case study stories. I need to get it done. So when I was looking at the numbers, all I knew is that I needed to fill it in to the best that I knew how to do it based on what was taught on how to do taxes, insurance, etc. Send it to you all. Make sure that I'm not missing anything. If I have any last minute questions, make sure those are answered, and then be ready to commit right then and there. Because I was in a point where I was hungry to just take that next step.
So you were able to make the jump quickly because there was support?
Yes, and another side note was that this is house number 2. So after going through house number 1 and walking through the whole thing and building some confidence in the people that you work with, I'm ready to do it again. And so I think that was the beautiful thing, is that once you get that first one done and you walk through it, that familiarity builds confidence to go ahead and step out to the next one and continue the path to building a portfolio.
Okay, so I just want to remind you what I said earlier. By house number 5, this should be it should be easier. The more you do it, the easier it gets, and it will be no different than going grocery shopping. Right? I say grocery shopping, but
Yes.
it will be that easy, I promise. Okay, so how has your life changed since you joined Lifestyle?
Well, as you saw, I had made a quote over there, and we were talking about this last time, but conversation in our household has changed. This term, retirement, I mean, even being in the school system, there's the lady that from the previous case study, being in the school system, there's a lot of talk in the office about waiting for your last 5 years, and you're waiting on, they're 60, they're getting a little bit older over there. And now this is something that we can talk about sooner if we be wise in our decisions, stay close with mentors and the team, and it looks a lot more closer. So again, what has done differently in our home is that now this is a more normal conversation about retirement. We think about planning, and a lot of our conversations are geared towards that to getting to that point.
Okay, great. So what are your short-term goals?
Well, following a few of the life changers and some of the other lifestyles leaders, it looks like this is great time. I mean, it's single family season, and so I want to make sure that we capitalize on that, make some good decisions, and build up on that and that capacity. And then, it'd be really nice in the sooner than later is to become an IRO and to get into multifamily, because we joined as passives, and as preferred members, pigs. And that is a goal to get to that point where we can do that. That looks like that's where you have a real game-changing moment when you start getting into to apartments.
Okay, great. So for your team, you had the Lifestyles Realty. You also leveraged, all the mentors that, that are here to help you. You used, again, inspections. So this is our second member who's used inspections by Pat. And Chris will go over the vendor program that we have here. Cal is funding for hard money and conventional. And I think they were here earlier, so they do both. Oh, well, they're waving, yes.
Yes, I told David I'd give him a shout out. Thank you, David. David Lipnicki helped me out on two things there, and I'm going to continue to work with him. Great guy.
Yes.
I just recorded that, so.
Okay.
Right. Then we also have the general contractor, Mondell Corbett. So what would you say to someone who's on the fence tonight?
I think that it's important that if you're serious about it, that if you have questions, go ahead and contact it, whether it's the realtor, talking to the inspector, the lender, or whatnot, to get yourself prepared in order. Make sure that lending is ready to go, that you practice doing some quest analysis, that you know how your inspector works, because he can simplify it if you have all these questions. Sometimes you just need to talk through it. And then speaking with the GC, talking with Mondell has been great. He's actually expanded his team where he has other people to navigate a lot of questions as he's managing projects. So he's upgraded his system. So he's been real good to work with. And even for Moon, just talking about the different areas and giving some insight on the market. And then also to the lifestyle mentors. I'm going to give you props, Hind. You've given me some leads to other ways to help me navigate as far as getting the property leased, and a few other things to help me get to that next step and make sure that everything goes forward very smoothly.
Okay, I just want to again confirm that the mentors are your biggest cheerleaders, and really there is nothing that brings us happiness more, than seeing you getting your first deal, because we know once you get your first deal, you're going to go back, because it's truly, I think it's addictive. Do you think?
Well, I'm still buying.
See, there you go. Right. I even tried to convince my husband to buy a house this weekend. I was like, no. But anyway, okay. Do you have any questions for Edgar? Do you have anything online?
I have a question.
Yes.
In terms of deciding on the deal, were they looking for income or equity capture? How did they measure that?
So
On this specific, go ahead, Hind.
no, you go ahead. No, I want you to answer.
We want to hear you.
Yes.
Yeah. So initially, when this deal came to me, the cash flow was looking a lot nicer. It was a little bit more than what you saw over there. But again, because there was so much equity capture, I was able to even take care of a few things on the side. It brought the cash flow a little bit down, but I really can't argue with that equity capture. And at this stage, when we're building the portfolio, if I really want to get to that point to be ready for a multifamily, multifamily deal, I'm going to go for equity capture all day. And as long as there's a decent amount of cash flow, that could be a little bit more secondary.
Yeah, let's be honest. Who's going to turn down a 400% gain? Him? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
400 is okay.
It's okay? It's just okay? Yeah, I guess I'll take it.
No, it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah.
Especially if you put, 12,000 out of pocket. Who can beat that, right? I think it's amazing returns.
David,
Any questions?
any other questions online, David?
Okay,
In the room?
Keith, we have. Yep.
Ooh.
Great presentation. Sorry if I missed it. Can you just confirm again, when did you join Lifestyles, and how long have you owned this property that you're showcasing?
All right, thanks for that question. So we initially joined during COVID, and we went through the financial freedom workshop, and then in a month afterwards, after going through it twice, we decided to become preferred members and become PIGs. So we've been members for quite some time. It took a while before we decided to get into single family. Just recently, all of a sudden, these numbers started to look really nice, and so we started to look and entertain that. So that's when we joined. As far as this particular home, your question is when we acquired it, or how long we owned it?
Yes.
We bought the house in June last year.
Okay.
It was a pretty large project, but it is being leased.
Okay.
Any other question? Oh, we got one right here.
So what was the ARV before the 4-2 conversion from a 3-2, or was it still 220?
So when I presented it to the lender for Catalyst, I had already showed him the bid and what the plan was, and so that was shared over to the appraiser. So it was already set at 220. When they saw what was going to happen, they gave it that. I can't recall or remember if there was a prior ARV to that. I'm pretty sure it was 220.
So when you ran your numbers, what did you run it at 220? Did you think the ARV was
Yeah.
the after repair value was going to be 220?
Yes. No, well, that's a good question. I got to go back to my quest. I wouldn't know on the top of my head. We can speak with, I know David hasn't memorized all his things over there, but it may have gone up a bit. I couldn't tell you on the top of my head, and I don't want to give you a guess.
So when you look at when you look at the deal, you want to be conservative. You want to look at the deal in the worst case scenario. If I don't get 220, and you run your numbers as 215, 217, does this deal still make sense? Okay. Then if it's 220, okay, well it's no brainer, right? Now the flip side, if you say this deal is 230, the ARV, the after repair value is going to be 230, and you are being aggressive, then it comes in at 220, then it just doesn't help your case, right? But this is nothing for you to worry about right now.
Yeah, come to the seminar.
Come to the seminar. We'll talk about it. Yes, he will make it make sense for you. Okay? Any other questions? Yes.
Willard, you get the last one.
My wife still runs a couple of single families, and I was just curious because you're obviously not here in Houston. Our tenants come and put their checks in our mailbox. How are you handling rental collections and management of your property?
You are old school, man.
Okay, so I work with another outside realtor that was recommended, and he's been a fantastic assistance over there. So he'll just find and set it up where he'll find the tenant for me. Once they get in, what I use, and he shared with me that was a handy tool that other investors use, is called Tenant Cloud. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of different apps, but that's just something I got familiar with, and everything's automated online. So, just earlier today, I was contacting one of the tenants for a move-in, and I was able to go back and forth through the app, Messenger over there. So to answer your question, I use the app to navigate.
You are the manager,
funding.
right? You're the manager?
That's correct.
Okay.
Just like Chris said earlier, once if you fix everything right and you do it right up front, these people are not going to call you. They will only call you when it's time to renew the lease.
Don't be scared of it. All my properties are in San Antonio. I live in Dallas. So,
Yes.
There's lots of different ways. Come to the seminar. We'll help you out. You're already a pig. Okay. So yeah. So you've got him and the team to walk you through everything.
Okay? Alrighty. Thank you so much. Give a hand to Edgar, please. Thank you, Edgar. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you guys. I'll see you.
Excellent job.